girl in the garden.
6 months on, and to many the events succeeding to see my demand.
Leslie Tiller was fucking murdered!
Hey guys, welcome to episode 76 of LTFM. Welcome back, welcome back. I know it seems like you just listened to the last episode and it was totally fine, but I fucked up the other day and I recorded an episode with Bridget and I was like, guess what episode do you think this is? And she's like, 78. And I was like, nope, 76. And my high ass wrote 78 on the paper anyway because it was already in my head because she said that. And then we started the episodes and I was like, hey, welcome to episode 78. And then I was like, fuck, now I gotta go back and like do a couple more episodes to fill in the spot before that because I wasn't even thinking. Like, I fucked up because finally I wasn't gonna be busy and I was like, let me just get high before she even gets on. And now look at me. An idiot. Well, anyway, thanks for coming back. I know it seems like I said, you just listened to the last episode, but I've been fucking busy. So, anyway, this episode is going to be talking about all the different pets that I've had throughout my whole life. And I'm counting pets that were also other people's pets, but I did like a lot for them, kind of, like I am counting if I took care of some animals or if I was living with them for a while, they became mine, kind of thing. So I guess I had wrote these all trying to put them like in a specific order, but after a little while I was just like, damn, I kind of messed up. Because honestly, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of animals that I wrote stuff about. So this is gonna be a lot. Alright, so let's just start off. First one. I had a rabbit when I was little. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I know I had to be around like maybe like first or second grade. So I had a rabbit. This rabbit was named Funny Bunny. It was named that by my father. I didn't even think about having like a name. I wanted to name him because he already named him. Anyway, I won this bunny at a Easter egg hunt at one of the local parks. And once my dad was working outside, he had like an extension cord hanging over like a crate or something. And we just had like the bunny outside just to hang out with us and stuff. And this bunny just like jumped over the shit. Also, I think it was probably a girl. I don't know if do bunnies. I think it was a boy. I think I'd know. Hold on. Now I have a question. Let's see. Do boy bunnies have balls? Right? And they can retract them into their abdomen? What the fuck? Okay. So honestly, I would have never known if it was a boy or a girl. Because I was not looking at its junk like that. Anyway, we called this bunny Funny Bunny. And I guess like we didn't have a name for him. And then after he like jumped over that extension cord, my dad named him that. And I was like, okay. So when I had him, I would let him run around in the house. He would run down the hallway. He would leave like little poops. His poops were like little perfect circles. It was like, whatever. I mean, somebody else is going to pick that up kind of thing. Like, I'm a little kid. I'm just living life. I have a bunny. And it was pretty cool. I know that like my grandma, because she lived with us at the time, she was just fucking feeding this animal anything. Like, I'd come home and she'd have like fucking crackers and Cheetos and stuff in there, and it was like, why are you doing that? I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck my parents were feeding this bunny. Like, honestly, I don't even know if anyone was taking care of this animal correctly. But like, knowing my parents, like, I feel like they definitely weren't. So anyway, one day I came home from school and I guess he died during the day. And I just remember like going over his like little cage thing, and there was still like a Cheeto in there. And I was just like, fuck. I got so sad. And then my brother comes out of his room and he's like, uh he told me that it was my fault, and that it was my fault that the rabbit died and that I killed it. And after that, like, I just didn't even have anything to say to him. After that, I just remember going into the bathroom. It was my older brother, Mario. I went into the bathroom and I was just standing in there and I was crying. And I just felt awful. I felt so bad, like, because, I know it's not my fault, but I just wish I could have, like, sat by or something. And it just, it made me so sad. And then after that, we didn't get any more rabbits or things like that, really. Um, After that, we had gotten dogs. So we got this dog, and his name was Fats. He came from the guy that lived across the street. He had like a big black lab, and he had some other kind of dog, and they had babies, and he gave one to my dad. Funny, that dude's name was Clifford, and I was like, that's a dog name. Because, like, Clifford the big red dog. So I never forgot about that, but I was like, he's a dog. That's a dog name. And so this dog, Fats, he was a black lab mixed with whatever else, like I said. We called him Fats because, like, he was just very chunky as a baby. And of course, like, my father named him that. He was very chunky, had a little bit of white underneath his chin, and he was just such a cutie. I loved him. He had these big brown eyes. He was really funny. He would just play with me all the time. Like, and at the time that we had him, I would like go outside, play with him in the doghouse. I'd lay down with him in the grass. Like, I was like always in the backyard kind of thing, because that's where I could only really go in the backyard. um we had him for a few years, and uh we had him like a really long time, actually. But we had him for a few years, and then we ended up getting a white dog, which he was like white and tan mixed. He was like a pit mixed with like lab or something. I don't know. He was like definitely like a mutt. Um I think that one day my brothers just found him and he became ours. Like, I don't know. They were just like, I don't know. Some guy was giving away a dog and we didn't want him to die, so they brought him home. And he was nice. I, again, like, I'd play with him outside. Like, we'd all, like, me, Fats, and Vanilla. Well, that was his name, Vanilla. We would all play outside with each other, you know. And and sorry, I just totally spaced out. I was trying to read some other stuff. And so towards the end of Fat's life, um he ended up getting in a fight with Vanilla, and I think like he just bit him really hard, and he ended up like dying. I think he like bled out or something like that. Um it was really traumatizing for me, because like when something like that happens, my dad has to tell it over and over again. And it was just like, I need to get away from it kind of thing, you know? I don't want to remember him like that. I don't want to imagine that in my head. Uh, but he would just constantly talk about it, and it really upset me, and it was an accident. Like Vanilla and him like used to live in the same doghouse and stuff. Like my dad built them like a big doghouse and everything, but it was just really hard to constantly think about that. And like Vanilla looked really sad, like after the whole thing happened. Um but honestly, I think it was just stupid of my father to keep the dogs the way that they were, because he always wants to get big dogs, like bigger than chihuahuas and stuff like that, and he keeps them outside. And it always upset me because it's like, why would you get an animal and just make it live outside if it's like that? Like if it's a dog, bring it into the house. There's no fucking point. Like, there's no point of trying to use it as a protection for the house or something, which he always acted like it was. And it's like, honestly, if somebody wants to break into my house, if they're trying to get in through the backyard, just because there's a dog back there doesn't mean anything. Like, people could just kill dogs and get into your house. Like, it just upset me that he's such an idiot like that. I think it's not fair to have a dog be like chained up, never allowed to come inside, never given a bath, even when it's really cold outside. But, that's just him. And that could never be me. I'm never going to get a dog and be like, oh, you have to live outside, but he's just a fucking idiot. So, whatever. Sorry about that. But Fats and Vanilla were really sweet dogs. And, um, yeah, It was it was nice. I'd always hang out with them. Uh and before we ended up getting Vanilla, years before that, we had this dog called Hyro. Jairo. Hyro was a pit bull with a bunch of like pattern on him. I guess like people call it like that brindle kind of pit bulls where they have like a little spot on their chest that's like white, but then the rest of them's kind of patterned. Um, the name is fucking garbage, honestly. Again, another thing that my father named him. And the reason that he was given this name is because at the time when we had gotten him, my mom worked at a currency exchange, right? So a bunch of people would come in, and I guess like some guy came in and his name was Hyro and had the same last name as my dad. So she was like, "Oh, this guy came in and had your name." And he was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And then he decided to name the dog that we just got that. And I was like, lame. Come on, dude. Also, be more in love with yourself. The fuck? Tired of him. Uh so anyway, he had that name. It was honestly a fucking trash name, but he was a really sweet dog. Um yes, another outside dog like I said, but I would also go in the backyard with him. I noticed with him a lot, I would sit there and I would talk to him. And he would just sit there and just like look at me. And sometimes I'd bring like a shirt or something out and I'd put it on him. And I remember it was one day, it was the day before it all happened. I went outside and I sat on the back porch, and I was just sitting there with him for a long time, and I was just talking to him and just telling him how my day was and how it's really nice to have somebody to talk to. And it was just a good time. Um and then the next day he was just gone. Um I guess my parents think that he like ran away or something, or like maybe he got out of the maybe he just got like out of the fence and then got lost or something. it was just sad, that he was just gone. And it's like, fuck. Another thing, like, why the fuck would you make a dog live outside? Like, that shit just pissed me off. But, he was a real sweet baby. He was really nice. With all these dogs and stuff, like, yeah, they were huge, but they never really, like, jumped on me or hurt me or did anything, They were just a bunch of really, really nice dogs. Really nice guys. Yeah. So, let me see. Anyway, so we'll move on to Chicho, right? So Chicho was my number one best fucking friend. And so pretty much, let's see. See, did I write this down anywhere? Excuse me. Okay, so Chicho started off originally as my brother Mario's dog. He got it from my cousin, and she's like, it's a purebred Chihuahua, whatever. And then he ended up finding out that he wasn't, because he had like these really long legs. He just looked a little bit wonky. He was just like a really tall Chihuahua. Like, he was definitely mixed with something else, right? Like, he was not a Chihuahua. He was not like a teacup kind of thing. And Mario was like not in the mood for it. He did not want him. So we just ended up keeping him. My dad ended up basically just like keeping him for himself. And I remember the day that we had got him, like the day that Mario got him, because my dad came into my room. I was sleeping on my bed. I was taking like a nap. Like, I feel like it was like a summer, a summer kind of thing or something. I don't know. Summer, maybe it was a spring break. I don't know. And I remember him waking me up and showing me him, and I was like, "Oh, he's so cute!" And I started holding him, and he's like licking on me. He's got like these huge ears, way bigger than his head, which was so funny because when he got older, his ears were just not that big. Like, they just were regular size for his body, and it was it was cute. Like, he was just so adorable. He just had the smallest little head, the biggest ears. He was like a Dumbo. Um, and I remember we didn't know when his birthday was, and it was like a couple months later or something, and it was just like, well, let's just pretend like February 14th is his birthday, because Valentine's Day, I love him. He's perfect. So when we got him his collar and like his little name tag thing, picked out like a red heart, of course, put his little name in there, and it was really cute. And this dude stayed alive for so long. Like, we had him probably like 15 years, 14, 15 years. Um he was my best friend for the longest. He would sleep with me. I'd paint his little toenails. I'd give him baths. I'd walk around in the backyard with him. Uh, when I would hold him, he would let me hold him like a little baby. It was so cute. Like, he was just perfect. He was black. He had like a little bit of tan on his feet going up into his legs. He had a little bit of white, I think, on his chest. And his eyebrows, he had like those little tan eyebrows. So his face was black and he had like little tan eyebrows, so he had like personality. And he was just so cute. He would just hang out with me. Like, if I was sick, it was almost like he knew I was sick and would just lay by my stomach. Like, he was awesome. And of course, everybody gets old and it sucks. And he got to the point where he was going outside and he was immediately like lost. Uh he had started getting cataracts in his eyes, and my father was on this thing where he was like, I'm not gonna put him down. Even though it was like, look, it's time, you know? Like, he's really struggling. And it pisses me off that we had to fucking wait for him to make the decision on it after begging him and telling him, like, this is the only thing that we need to do. Because Chicho, like, started going through it towards the end of his life. Like I said, like, he was lost when he was outside. Um, and then eventually he started, like, going pee and it was blood. Or, like, he would go poop and it was blood. And it fucking sucked, you know, to see him, like, going through stuff like that. And then to have this fucking idiot not do anything about it. But eventually he listened to us, and they put him down. And it was a hard day. It was really hard. Because the day before, they told me, they're like, yeah, we're gonna go do it tomorrow. So I came over, and he's laying there. And I was like, oh man. I was like, hey, Chicho. And he's just laying there on his little bed. And I was like, hey, Chicho. Hey, baby. And I got down really low so I could talk to him. And, yeah, I just got really low. And I was just petting him. And just telling him how much I love him. Letting him know that I miss him. And, like, I didn't want to say goodbye. Because it just was hurting too much, you know? It was just a thing where I was like, I'll see you later, okay? Everything's gonna be okay. And I love you. And I'll see you later. Alright? And I just had to leave. I had to leave the house because, like, I wasn't. I wasn't gonna be able to, like, calm down. Because I had already started crying a little bit. And I just didn't want to make him scared. But, you know, I feel like I'll see you later feels better for them. Not just like goodbye. And they put him down on July 20th. And it sucked because it was a couple days before my birthday and I was just fucked up. Like, I couldn't. I was working that day because I couldn't call off because I, like, I have, like, bills to pay, you know, like, I can't just, like, call off and not go to work. Uh, so I worked all day, and it was awful. Oh, sorry, Henwin was making weird noises. I just had to check on him. Uh, yeah, it was a rough day. You know, I was a fucking wreck, and it was July 20th around like 11:40 in the morning, and it fucking sucked. But it felt so good at the same time because I didn't want him to have any more of those problems that he was going through. I just wanted him to be okay. So it hurt for me, but I was also super happy for him because it needed to happen. But he was like he was like my best bud all the time. He was so fun. all the time. We'd be playing, doing everything together. Like, it was so good. Sorry if it was a little bit hard to hear me. It just, it just brings back memories and stuff. And man, I feel like there's nothing like a pet, especially one that you spent a lot of time with, you know, one that was always there for you. You have all these funny, like, little memories of, like, he was my best bud, and I miss that dude. And I think I say this in, like, a episode before this or after, whatever, but, like, the other day, I opened up my room door, and diagonal from my room is the bathroom. And I I opened up the door and I looked, and my eyes just got drawn to the floor. And in the corner where, like, the bathroom door opens, like the crack of it, I seen Chicho. Like, I seen his face, I seen his front body, I seen his front paws standing there, and the rest of his body was, like, in the wall. And I seen him and I was like, what the fuck? And then he just disappeared. But I swear, I swear he was, like, looking at me. It was real. I seen his little eyebrows. I seen his little paws, his chest, everything. Like, it was so crazy. It was so crazy to see him. And I was like, damn, dude. It's been a while. it was it was crazy to see. Because, like, I've never seen anything. Like, I've never really seen a ghost, right? But 100%, that's what that was. I don't know, like, what the fuck else it could have been. And it's so crazy to think, like, dude, you came back to see me. Um, it was awesome. It wasn't like I was scared, but I just kept getting goosebumps after that. Like, I feel like it was definitely real. I wasn't high. I wasn't, like, on anything else. It just kind of happened, and it was so sweet to just see him. And he had dark hair again. He didn't have, like, that little white mustache that grew in after years. He was just, it looked like him in his prime. And it was so cute. Funny I didn't cry when I seen it the first time. Like that. I just, I guess it's getting me now because I'm just, like, remembering him. But that dude was awesome. Love Chicho. Jesus Christ, guys. All right. So, I'll do one more and then I guess I'll just move on to the next thing. So, the next dog that I'll talk about is, oh yeah, where is she at? Shangui. Okay, so Shangui, right? Shangui is a dog that we had at the same time we had Chicho. um Sweet, sweet Shangui. Yes, I know, the name is stupid. Yes, my father chose it again. We'll get into that. So I guess here we go. We all know I live in the ghetto, right? And if you don't know, now's the fucking time. Now you know. So a bum shows up one day to the house. This is a common thing. My father talks to all bums, doesn't matter. Um, shows up to my house, talks to my dad, ask him if he wants to buy a dog. Says that her name is Sasha. Bro, this dude definitely stole this dog from somewhere, right? So my dad was like, "Yeah, sure." Gave him $20 for her, and she was ours for, like, the last 14, 13 years. Um and so there used to be a commercial on there on TV. I don't know if it was like a White Castle's commercial, Taco Bell. it was some kind of a food commercial, and on there was like some vampire or some shit, and it was like, oh, you got sanguigoraphobia or something like that. I don't know. It was like sanguigoraphobia. I don't know. They were saying something along those lines in the commercial. And then he's like, Shangui, and he kept saying stupid shit like that. And then he's like, that's gonna be her name. Then that was her name. That stupid shit was her name forever. I don't know why anyone lets this dude name any kind of animal. He legit can't even spell eye, like an eyeball. Um, so whatever. Um, yeah, like I said, I can't remember exactly what the commercial's from. Whatever. That's her name, Shangui. And she was a sweet little baby. She was like definitely a Chihuahua mixed with something else. She had like this weird thing going on with her nose, so anytime she'd breathe in, it was like, like she'd like sounded like a little pig almost. She was really sweet. She was all tan. Um, her and Chicho actually ended up having babies together, and they were so cute. They were just like these little nuggets. I think that they had 7 babies, and it was so they were so adorable. I loved them. We ended up getting rid of all those dogs too. Another situation where he was not watching them and he got her pregnant. It was also like he got her pregnant the day before he was gonna go get his surgery to get his little things cut off. So that's crazy. Actually, Shangui passed away this year. Um, I felt bad for her towards the end of her life as well because, you know, she lives here and he doesn't know how to treat animals right. And would always, like they'd always be yelling at her because like she's making her noises or because she's walking around. She ended up getting cataracts at the end of her life. You know, just being a little bit confused about things and stuff. And one day she just like they kept finding her like laying around not moving, but she was breathing really soft breaths. They thought she was dead. And then it was like a couple days after that, I think. Maybe like 3 days after that she ended up passing away, which again, I was sad, but I was glad for her because I feel like any animal that's here and having him as a caretaker, it's like I just feel so bad for them. He's just like an awful person. But, you know, she's gone and I'm happy that she's okay now. Cuz she was definitely struggling, you know, no one was taking her to the doctor to go get her little eyes checked or anything like that, but she was cool. She was fun when she was younger. Uh she definitely didn't want to be bothered by anyone like, and I totally understand it. But she was a great dog. Yeah. But I'm going to end this first part right here. So thanks for listening and I will be back with part 2 in a little bit. Well, I was about to say, "Kay, love you." All right, guys. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.